The January LTI Mirai Guardian giveaway has been unlocked by reaching our subscriber goals over on Twitch. Links to everything are in the description down below. Watch on Twitch to get points, turn those points into tickets, and then wait for the drawing after the Daymar rally. Thanks to so many of you who showed your support during the holidays, I now have enough money to start building a mobile VR cockpit for Bar Citizens and next year's CitizenCon. We have reached over 175 subscribers over on Twitch. That's more than I ever thought possible, and I couldn't be here without you. Thank you all for the support and that sweet voodoo that you do. Okay. So, we were talking about video games like Star Citizen and how they use the same old smoke and mirrors from decades ago, or a decade ago, to sell a fake universe where Star Citizen has to make an actual universe to sell to its customers. So, with that being said, hang on. Gotta sneeze. Thank you. All right, so you now ask, are the planets going to orbit the sun so that sometimes our corp is close to Microtech and blah, 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 blah. So here's the thing, okay? So how do you make a game like this where, let's say, I pop on my warp thing and then I go and I warp over to Terra Gateway, or I warp over to, modern Icarus, right? Where are those coordinates stored in? In a computer somewhere, right? And the computer has to be able to read and save the coordinates, and for every single video game ever, when you want to place assets somewhere, you type in the coordinates or whatever where that location is and it brings up that location. In every video game ever, none of those coordinates move. And that's the big problem is, one, how do you do those coordinates? Because, is it a big old GPS coordinate system where, each location on a planet is saved on, globe-like GPS positioning with longitude, latitude, right? Okay, that works great, but what do you do in space? Do you do an XYZ coordinate where all the planets are saved and stuff and they're all moving through space in XYZ? Or do you do that radially based off of the center distance from the sun in circles, right? How do you compute and save all of those different, things? And it's a mess, which is why CIG doesn't do that. Chris Roberts is like, yeah, I want the planets to orbit, the entire fucking engine team. No! Dear God, no, Chris. Just let the planets spin and create a day-night cycle, and that's it. We can do that, and that's easy enough. But, having them actually spin and having the engine keep track of the location of everything that's constantly changing, it would literally be impossible. Nothing would ever sync up properly, and you would get so much desync on a planetary level, it would be impossible. But yes, if planets had an orbit, it would make cargo routes more complicated to determine which commodity is worth hauling, and even then, that's just from players trying to figure it out. Imagine what the AI is doing with this system and trying to, the AI wouldn't be able to do the math around it because it'd be constantly changing. They'd be trying to, the computer's AI program would go to this location at this, point, and that point is always changing. And it'd just be impossible, so. They would have to do it dynamically. That's what spooling is, calculating the jump. Yeah, but that's just more dynamic systems in an engine that's already, not really bursting at the seams, but barely holding together as far as just, shit that's being thrown at it. Anyways, we gotta get some bounties going. But yeah, I don't know, it's just really, really interesting, the things that Star Citizen has to do because of the way it's built. Because you have to fly around a whole planet has to be there. If they want to make a day-night cycle, the sun has to be in a specific spot and they have to rotate the planet, and all these things give them new limitations to where they can't do smoke and mirrors, the way that they used to, that other publishers and game developers would be able to get away with to sell you the dream of that game. But yeah, in Star Citizen, it's less, a dream and more reality in so much as that every single inch of that planet I can walk around and see and look at. There's not any bit of that planet that isn't there, you know? It's just the smoke and mirrors that they had to develop to make that a reality is the difference. So, anyways, if you're watching this on YouTube, yeah, that's planetary tech and, you know, not really a rant, but just, you know, examining how interesting it is between games and comparing it to Star Citizen. But yeah, you guys are awesome. Let's see here. Does No Man's Sky use smoke and mirrors techniques like Starfield or no? Well, they're not really... Okay, I guess we're still not done with this. Does No Man's Sky use smoke and mirror techniques like Starfield or no? Well, their smoke and mirrors are different because they're algorithmic based, right? Like, they wanted everything to be procedurally generated, and like, you go to a planet that's never been seen before, and the planet just creates in front of your eyes. But to do that on the fly, procedurally, they have to, you know, create algorithms, and eventually, this is kind of the thing that they ran into, is that all the algorithms start to feed back into each other, and that all the differentness starts to look the same. Like it's the same type of canyon formation or rock formation you've seen before, but just slightly different colors, right? Like it all just kind of, you know, looks bland and not really real. It's made millions and millions and millions of planets. You know, that smoke and mirror is the tech that they used to do that, and they got it done. But it still didn't create the fidelity that, you know, everybody would want or expect with, you know, a universe brimming with billions of planets and different, you know, life and stuff. But they've gotten a lot better at it over the years. You know, No Man's Sky has been, you know, updated over and over and over. And, yeah, it's in a really, really great spot. It's still kind of got some of that, you know, sameness to it, but the variety, the amount of base palettes and, you know, formations that can be created are way, way, way more than when the initial release was. And so I'd say you have a lot more harder time finding that sameness coming through the algorithms than you used to. So the fidelity, yeah, it's exactly, and the fidelity is more of a cartoony fidelity compared to like an actual realistic fidelity where, you know, freaking, where's my mouse? Oh, there we go. Whereas, like, you know, the freaking paint is starting to come off now that I've used this for like half of a day. Like, it's a completely different type of fidelity between No Man's Sky and Star Citizen, so. Must be caused to be underwhelming. That must be what caused it to be underwhelming when it first released. Exactly, Lord Nightmare, exactly. But yeah, this is just comparing the smoke and mirrors that Star Citizen uses. You know, hang on. But yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for doing the voodoo that you do. Thank you for doing the voodoo that you do. You guys have been amazing. This has just been a video kind of going over the different smoke and mirror techniques that different game companies, studios, and publishers and developers have done over the years to sell the idea and, you know, worlds of a space game. And yeah, Star Citizen isn't any different. They're doing it a lot bigger scale, but they still have their own smoke and mirrors that they have to, you know, do. Just new ones that they have to pull out of their ass, not the same old standard ones that you can use, or that, you know, everybody's been using for a decade, or decades, actually. Hell, a Skybox was in some of the original, you know, 3D world games, so. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this, and no rants from me. I'm not really mad at anything. Until I go to jail and I get stuck in there, expect a big, long, angry rant about that one, and how they let that bug through. But yeah, so far, bounty hunting and 4.0 is working great. Stay safe, fly right. I'm Chachi Sanchez. Y'all have a good night. Alright, get all of that as a clip. Okay.
Daddy's home. Ka-ching!